Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today in this video we will talk about some of the important functions that are available in Python that we can use for our day-to-day task, and these functions are very specific to their task, so it can be used in a very good way to perform our task in an accurate way. So I will try to discuss some of the basic functions that I feel that they are every Python programmer needs to know in order to fulfill its task. So these functions can be used in even competitive programming. So those who are very experienced about competitive programming using Python, they can use these functions for the task. So first up, I will be using this ABS function. So this ABS function stands for absolute. So as the name suggests, so if if I have a value and I want to just take the absolute value of it, then I can use this function. If it's a positive number or a negative number, it will directly give its absolute value. So let's say I want to get the absolute value of minus, let's say 15. So if I use give the minus value of minus 15, then it will return the absolute value of this figure of this number. So it will return 15. So for positive number, it does not have any effect. It is just just giving the output as the same value. But for negative values, we can see this effect. So this was the first function. So next we have dir function. So let's say you are having an object with you and you have some values in it, and if you know what is the type of it or what are the methods associated with that object, so then we can for that we can use this dir method. So let's say I have an object a which is equals to 25. So intuitively it is an integer. So if I want to check what are its method available that I can access or I can use, I will use this dir function and I will pass the variable a. So then I will get all the attributes associated with it. So starting from abs underscore add and moving on, going up to this all function, these all attributes. So you can try out different attributes. So I will show you in one more example. Let's say a is a list. So let's take it 1 2 3 only. So if I check what are the attributes possible for a, so I will get this append, clear, copy, count, extend. These are the nothing but these are your list methods that you can use to perform operations on list. So that's how you can check what are the methods available or attributes available for an object, so using dir method. So next up I have this divmod function. So let's say you are dealing with numbers and you want to calculate, you want to divide some numbers via some number, and you want to get the quotient and remainder and this kind of stuff. Then instead of having these operators, you can use this function as well. So div mode takes two attributes. So div mode stands for division and modulo. So basically it will take two attributes. So you give two numbers. So first is the divisor or the value to be divided, and then the value to the divisor. So let's say I take 5 and so that I take 10 and I take the divisor at 5 as 6. So this function will return two values as a tuple. So first is your quotient and second is your remainder. So if you divide 10 by 6, so I repeat, it's integer division. So don't go like this will not do the the division after the decimal point. So so if we divide 10 by 6, it will have a quotient of 1 and a remainder of 4. So that's how we can use this div mode function to get quotient and remainder in a single go. Next up we have is enumerate function. So this function is used to count or specify a count or an index to a retrievable object. So let's say you have a tuple and you have a list or tuple or list, any of the iterable object, or even a string. You can take it as string as well. So if you want to number the elements present in the iterable object. Uh, like if you want the series to begin from a point that you want or you specify, you can use this enumerate function. Let's say I have a list of numbers from 100 to 200, and I want to index them the values starting from 1000 to 1100. Let's say. So let's take an example. So I have a list, and I have values, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, and I want the indexes of this, or I want to count this. I want to um, remember these numbers via the numbers, let's say 100 or 101, 102, and so on. So then what I will do is I will use this enumerate function, and in that function I will pass this iterable object, and I will optionally mention this start point. So I will start, and I will start with 100. So this, if you don't specify the start, it will automatically take it as 0. So and now if you run this, so we'll get an enumerate object by this function. So this enumerate object, you can use it in a for loop. Something like this. So it will make a list of tuples. So the first end of the, like, each tuple will be having the its index as 100, and well, whatever the value that was in the list, and you will have a set of tuples like this. So essentially you can access any of these elements using, like, accessing a tuple and using the square brackets around it. So next up, we have this isinstance function. So let's say you have an instance of object, and if you know if that instance or if that object belongs to a certain data type, then you can check it using this isinstance function. So basically, guys, this integer, float, this whatever the function that you use for typecasting, this belongs to their parent class of integer, float, or whatever the data type that you use. And if you create a variable of, let's say, list, then you are creating an instance of that class. So basically that is an object and instance are two terms that are used interchangeably. So this, if I like, you can check if the object belongs to a certain class or not by using this isinstance function. So let's say I have a object a, and which is having the value of 10, and I can check if a belongs to int or not. So here, like, you have to be careful that you write the proper class name. So here int is the predefined class of Python, so I can write it. Or if you, even if you have your own class, then you can write their name here as well. But we make sure that you have that class present somewhere in the program or in the library. So now I can, it will return the value of true, because a is having an integer value, and that value and is an integer. So this will check with this class that I have passed. Let's say I change this integer to str, which is string, so it will return false. So because a is not having a string value, it is having an integer value, so that's why it is giving false as an output. So next function that I will be taking upon is this filter function. So this filter function, as the name suggests, it will filter out some of the values that are present in the iterable object, which can be a list or tuple based on certain conditions. So we can have a small function which returns a true or false value based on some operation, and it will basically define if we want to filter out a value or not. So and that can be used to filter out values from the list or the iterable object. So I can use this filter function in order to uh, apply that function on each of the values of that iterable object. So the basic syntax for filter function is something like this. So I will have the function and I will have the iterable object. So let's take a small example. Let's say I have a bunch of values with me, and I want to filter out only the positive values out of it. So, and I have defined a single function, a function for a single number. So it will take the number as input, and if it's the value of the number is greater than 0, which is a positive value, then it will return that number, else there won't be a value returned. So, and I have this a defined as a set of values that I want to taken as an input. So I will use this filter function. I will write that function name. So I will write find positive, and then I will pass on the iterable object. So essentially this will return a filter object. So in order to get the output, I will have to typecast it. So I can use either list or tuple. Preferably everyone's use list because it can be editable, it can be edited, and it can be used in a very customized way. So I will typecast it as list. If I run it, oh sorry, it was giving me a value error. Yes, because the number is not defined. Okay, now it's working fine. So from this above list, I have filtered out only positive values. So next up, we have a similar kind of thing here in map as well. So map basically maps a function to the set of values that I'm passing. It essentially does similar to filter function, but filter function is based on a condition where we get true or false. We have a function which gives us true or false kind of value, but map function is a general purpose function. So a map function can be used where function is performing some operation on the values and it is giving us some output as well. So here, so the syntax is same. I will write map. I will have map, and then I will have the function and the set of values that I will pass. Taken as an like it can be given as a list or any kind of iterable object. So let's take a short example for this as well. Let's say I have a list of numbers. Let's take it as 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 maybe. And I want to create a short program where I want to I have a certain values and I want to calculate their cube roots, let's say. So I will write a function for say calculate, and I will take a number here as an input, and I will return number star 3. So essentially, so I will define a function for a single value only, and that I can use using that mat function to apply it on a set of values directly. So I don't have to write a code which is sort of a for made up for a list. So I will write a function for a single value, and then I will use it for all the values. So now that I have defined the function, I can use the map function, and I will write the function name. So I will write calculate, and the value or the set of values that I want the cube cubes of. So I will then I have to typecast it like we did in the filter function. So I will use the list or tuple, whatever is fine with you. So now I will get take care of the names. So yes, so this is giving me an output where each of the numbers are getting the power of 3, which is we are getting the cubes of the numbers. So essentially this is how it is. There is a small difference in how filter and map works, but both of them sound similar to me. So now moving on to the last topic or the last function of this video is reduce. So let's say we want to perform a rolling operation on a set of values. Let's say I have from a list of values, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I want to perform a product of these all values. So essentially, if I write the basic code using that for loop, I will write for I in A, let's say, and then I will have the product variable which starts from, which will have 0, and then I will iteratively multiply all the values that I have in the iterable object, and then at the end I will return. So it will essentially take 3 lines of code. So this is fine, but like if I want to, do it in a rolling way function, or like in a single line, or single or 2 lines, I can use the reduce function. So I can use the reduce, which is present in func tools. So I have to import func tools from Python, and from that I have to import reduce. So this is using I'm using a library known as functools from Python, and I'm using the reduce function from that functools library. So I will write a small function for which essentially calculates the product of two values, let's say x and y, and I will return x star y. So now that I have defined a function for two values, I will have to, just I will just upscale it to the list of values that I want the product of. So I will use a reduce, then I will pass this function, and I will pass the iterable object. Now let's run it. So it is returning the value of 5040. Let's check if this is true or not. So, 2, 3. Yes, this is if we this is equal to the manual computation. So yes, this function is working fine. So that's how it is done. I'll be soon coming up with how to use this map and all, in taking advanced inputs, and how to use it in an advanced way in the coming video tutorials. So thanks for watching. Thank you for your time. Take care of your health. And this is Raj signing out. If you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe it, like it, share it, and comment on it. Thank you.